We live in a world where most people think wealth is simply about collecting money, stacking it higher and higher, or finding some shortcut to riches. But money by itself has no power unless it represents something deeper. That deeper truth is value. Wealth is not built on chasing dollars. It is built on creating value, multiplying value, and delivering value in ways that solve problems for others. The most successful people in history, whether they were entrepreneurs, inventors, leaders, or visionaries, became wealthy not because they chased money, but because they discovered how to offer something that others truly needed and were willing to exchange for. When people believe wealth is about money alone, they end up trapped in a cycle of working harder for each dollar. They think more hours means more money, more struggle means more success, and more sacrifice of their health and time will eventually get them free. But this approach rarely works because there is a limit to how much energy one person can give. No matter how many hours you put in, there will always be a ceiling if you only exchange time for money. True wealth is unlocked when you learn to scale value, when you find a way to serve many people at once instead of only trading your time for wages. That is why one person can work 50 hours a week and barely get by, while another can work fewer hours and create a system, a business, or an idea that serves thousands or millions, producing far greater returns. The difference is not effort, the difference is value. Value is the secret currency of wealth. Imagine a doctor who saves lives, an engineer who designs bridges, or a teacher who changes the direction of a child's future. Each of them creates value, but the financial results can be vastly different depending on how that value is packaged, multiplied, and delivered. A doctor who only sees one patient at a time may earn a solid income, but a doctor who writes a book, designs a training program, or invents a medical device that helps millions has leveraged their knowledge into massive wealth. The skill is the same, the knowledge may be similar, but the scale of value is exponentially different. The reason most people never hear this secret is because society often trains us to think like workers instead of creators. Schools teach us to get good grades, find a safe job, and trade time for money. They do not teach us how to identify opportunities, solve bigger problems, and multiply solutions. As a result, many people live their whole lives believing that wealth is unfairly distributed, when in reality, wealth flows towards value. If you want more wealth, the path is not only about demanding higher pay, it is about becoming more valuable, learning more, serving more, and packaging what you know or what you can do in a way that reaches farther. When you begin to see wealth through the lens of value, everything changes. You stop asking, how can I get more money, and start asking, how can I create more value? How can I solve bigger problems? How can I serve more people? Money becomes a byproduct, a certificate of the value you have created. That is why some people earn millions from a single idea, while others work a lifetime and never escape struggle. It is not luck, it is the principle of value in action. Think about the world's great entrepreneurs. Jeff Bezos did not become wealthy by simply selling books online. Anyone could have set up a small online store. What he did was build a system of distribution that gave people massive convenience, speed, and variety. He created value in the form of accessibility, and money flowed to him as a result. Elon Musk did not gain wealth by building cars. Cars already existed. He created value by reimagining what transportation could be, offering innovation, energy solutions, and futuristic ideas that captured global attention. Value is not always about inventing something brand new. Sometimes it is about taking what already exists and making it faster, easier, cheaper, more inspiring, or more accessible to millions. Value can come in many forms. It can be knowledge, like a consultant who helps businesses grow. It can be entertainment, like a musician or actor who brings joy and escape into people's lives. It can be solutions, like an engineer who creates safer technology. It can even be faith, encouragement, or wisdom that inspires people to move forward when they are stuck. The greater the value you provide, the greater the wealth you will attract. And value always has to be seen through the eyes of others, not just yourself. Something only becomes valuable when it meets a need or desire in someone else's life. The secret then is to stop thinking of wealth as accumulation and start thinking of it as contribution. Wealth is not a selfish pursuit. It is the fruit of service. If you look at any wealthy person who has built something sustainable, you will see a long trail of people whose lives were made easier, better, safer, or more inspired because of them. That trail of impact is the measure of value. Even the Bible reminds us that a person's gift makes room for them. Your gift is your value, the thing you can bring to the table that helps others in ways they cannot help themselves. But here is the deeper truth. Value multiplies when combined with wisdom. Many people have talent but never reach wealth because they fail to package or deliver their talent properly. A singer with a beautiful voice may only perform locally, while another records songs that touch millions worldwide. Both are talented, but one understood how to turn talent into scalable value. This is why personal growth, learning, and mentorship are so important. You may already have value within you, but it must be shaped, developed, and amplified before it creates wealth. It is also important to realize that money without value is unstable. You may win the lottery, inherit wealth, or stumble into a lucky break, but if you do not understand value creation, that money often disappears. History is full of examples of people who gained money suddenly, but lost it because they did not know how to multiply value. On the other hand, someone who knows how to create and multiply value can lose everything and rebuild again, because their true wealth is not the cash in their account, but the ability inside them to produce solutions. That ability is the real wealth. So how do you begin building wealth through value? The first step is to shift your mindset from consumer to creator. Instead of always asking, what can I get? You ask, what can I give? What can I build? What problem can I solve? When you train yourself to look for problems, you begin to see opportunities everywhere. Every complaint is an opportunity to create value. Every frustration in your life is a signal of something people need. Every skill you have is a potential solution for someone else. The second step is to stop trading only time for money and start looking for ways to scale your value. If you are a teacher, do not just teach one class. Consider writing a course online that reaches thousands. If you are a coach, do not only see clients one by one, consider creating a program or community that multiplies your impact. If you are a business owner, do not just serve local customers. Find ways to reach new markets. Scaling is about moving from one-to-one service to one-to-many service. This is where wealth multiplies. The third step is to remember that value is dynamic, not static. What people value today may not be what they value tomorrow. That means you must constantly grow, innovate, and adapt. Companies that fail to adapt disappear, even if they were once leaders. Blockbuster was valuable once, but Netflix provided greater value in a changing world. Kodak was valuable once, but digital cameras shifted the market. If you want to build lasting wealth, you must keep asking yourself, how can I provide even greater value tomorrow than I do today? There is also a spiritual side to value. Myron Golden often reminds us that wealth is not just about material gain, it is about aligning with principles of service, stewardship, and contribution. When you view value as service, you begin to see wealth as a tool to expand good in the world. Your wealth allows you to employ others, support causes, provide for your family, and multiply blessings. That is why wealth built on value is far more fulfilling than money gained through shortcuts. It creates not only prosperity, but also purpose. And perhaps the most liberating part of this truth is that everyone has the ability to create value. You may not have inherited riches, you may not have connections, and you may not even have much money right now, but you do have skills, ideas, perspectives, and experiences that someone else needs. You may have overcome struggles obstacles others are still facing. You may know how to fix something others find impossible. You may have words of encouragement that someone else desperately needs to hear. All of these are seeds of value. And when you plant those seeds consistently, they grow into opportunities, relationships, businesses, and ultimately wealth. So wealth is not about chasing money. It is about discovering, developing, and delivering value in a way that serves others. It is about moving from consumer to creator, from limitation to scale, from focusing on what you lack to multiplying what you already have. The secret that nobody told you is that wealth has always been about value. Money follows value. If you want more money, focus on becoming more valuable. If you want lasting wealth, focus on creating lasting value. That principle has built fortunes across generations, and it will never fail because it is woven into the very fabric of how the world works. Would you like me to also craft this into a spoken motivational style speech with rhythm, pauses, and audience engagement like Myron Golden's delivery instead of just a written essay? Wealth is not simply a matter of numbers, accounts, or balance sheets. It is not only the outcome of strategies, investments, or opportunities. The deepest truth is that wealth requires the alignment of three essential forces: faith, mindset, and action. When any one of these is missing, a person can have temporary success, but it will not last and it will not reach its fullest potential. Faith by itself is powerful, but incomplete without action. Action by itself is energetic, but misdirected without mindset. Mindset by itself is positive, but powerless without faith. All three must work together like the gears of a great machine to move a person from lack to abundance, from struggle to prosperity, from fear to confidence. Faith is the starting point. Faith is the belief in the unseen, the conviction that something greater is possible, even before there is evidence. Many people never build wealth because they cannot see themselves as wealthy. They think wealth belongs to someone else, to a different class, a different background, or a different kind of person. They disqualify themselves before they even begin. But faith says, I am capable, I am chosen, I am able to create. Faith is the inner voice that whispers that you were not created to live in scarcity, but to multiply what you have been given. Without faith, you will always talk yourself out of opportunities. You will hesitate, procrastinate, and retreat when challenges come. With faith, you step forward even when the path is not fully visible. Faith, however, is not blind wishing. It is not sitting still and hoping that one day something will fall from the sky. Faith is active. It is belief that turns into courage. It is trust that moves you to take the first step. It is the invisible foundation that allows you to move when others freeze. Faith fuels the vision of a future that does not yet exist. It allows you to act as if it were already true, and that confidence attracts resources, people, and opportunities. When you believe deeply, others begin to believe in you too. That is why faith is not only spiritual, but also practical. It changes how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you attempt, and how you persist. Then comes mindset. Faith gives you the courage to begin, but mindset shapes how you think while on the journey. The wrong mindset can sabotage even the strongest faith. If you believe wealth is evil, if you believe success is only for the lucky few, if you believe you are trapped by your past, then you will sabotage yourself at every turn. Mindset is the lens through which you see the world. Two people can face the same problem, and one sees a dead end while the other sees an opportunity. The difference is mindset. Wealthy people are not defined by how much money they start with, but by how they think about problems, risk, opportunity, and growth. A growth mindset says, I can learn, I can adapt, I can improve. A fixed mindset says, I am who I am and nothing will change. If you carry a fixed mindset into the pursuit of wealth, every failure will feel like final proof that you cannot succeed. But with a growth mindset, failure becomes feedback, a chance to adjust, a step closer to the answer. Wealth flows to those who refuse to quit, and only a strong mindset gives you that resilience. Mindset also determines your relationship with money. Some see money only as a tool for survival, while others see it as a tool for freedom, service, and growth. If you see money as scarce, you will cling to it, hoard it, and limit yourself. If you see money as abundant, flowing through value and service, you will be bold enough to invest, to risk wisely, and to build systems that multiply. Mindset determines whether you stay stuck in the small or rise into the big. It determines whether you settle for comfort or stretch for greatness. But faith and mindset alone are still not enough. You can believe and you can think positively, but if you never act, nothing will change. Action is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Action is where dreams become reality. Too many people pray for success, but never take a step toward it. Too many people read books, attend seminars, and speak affirmations, but never put their hands to the work. Without action, faith remains only hope, and mindset remains only potential. Action does not mean reckless movement. It means intentional, consistent steps toward your vision. It means turning ideas into execution. Action builds momentum, and momentum creates opportunities you could not see from the starting line. When you act, you learn, and when you learn, you adjust, and when you adjust, you grow. Every action compounds into habits, and habits create outcomes. Wealthy people are not those who acted once, but those who acted consistently, even when results were slow. The alignment of faith, mindset, and action is where power is found. Imagine a person with faith, but no action. They dream big, but never move. Imagine a person with action, but no faith. They work hard, but burn out because they do not believe in the bigger picture. Imagine a person with mindset, but no action. They think positively, but remain stuck. Alignment means your belief, your thoughts, and your behavior all point in the same direction. That is when you become unstoppable. Wealth requires faith because there will be days when the evidence is against you. You will face setbacks, rejection, and dry seasons. Only faith will carry you through those valleys. Wealth requires mindset because money is attracted to clarity, discipline, and resilience. Without the right mindset, money slips away or destroys the person who holds it. Wealth requires action because only action creates results. You cannot reap a harvest without sowing seeds. Throughout history, every great success story reflects this alignment. Think of a small business owner who begins with nothing but a vision. Faith tells them it is possible. Mindset keeps them learning, adjusting, and persevering. Action gets them into the marketplace, serving customers, improving products, and building systems. Over time, faith sustains them through challenges, mindset directs their strategy, and action compounds into growth. The wealth that emerges is not an accident, but the fruit of alignment. There is also a deeper truth here. Faith, mindset, and action are not separate compartments. They feed each other. Faith strengthens mindset. When you believe in possibility, you think bigger. Mindset strengthens action. When you think clearly and positively, you act more boldly. Action strengthens faith. When you take steps and see results, your belief grows stronger. The cycle builds on itself, creating a spiral of growth that lifts you higher. Many people try to shortcut this process. They want wealth without faith, so they chase quick schemes. They want wealth without mindset, so they make money but lose it through poor decisions. They want wealth without action, so they talk about dreams but never see them realized. Shortcuts always collapse because the foundation is incomplete. True wealth, the kind that lasts, multiplies, and brings fulfillment, only comes through alignment. To live in this alignment requires discipline. Faith must be nurtured daily through what you feed your spirit. If you listen constantly to voices of doubt, your faith will weaken. You must surround yourself with messages, mentors, and communities that strengthen belief. Mindset must be trained daily through what you feed your mind. If you consume negativity, comparison, and fear, your mindset will shrink. You must practice gratitude, learning, and positive focus. Action must be practiced daily through what you feed your habits. If you procrastinate, hesitate, and wait for perfect conditions, you will never build momentum. You must act boldly, even imperfectly, and let the process refine you. Wealth is not random, nor is it reserved for a select few. It is a principle that works when you work it. Align your faith so that you believe beyond your current circumstances. Align your mindset so that you think like a creator, not just a consumer. Align your actions so that you move consistently toward your vision. When these three forces unite, wealth cannot help but follow. And the beauty of this truth is that it applies to every area of life. Financial wealth is one outcome, but alignment of faith, mindset, and action also produces relational wealth, spiritual wealth, and emotional wealth. You live with greater peace, greater purpose, and greater impact. You inspire others, not just with what you have, but with who you are becoming. That is true prosperity, not just having money, but living in overflow, in a way that blesses others as much as yourself. So the secret to wealth is not hidden in a formula, a stock tip, or a lucky break. The secret is alignment. When your faith is strong, your mindset is right, and your actions are consistent, you become the kind of person who naturally attracts wealth. It is no longer about chasing money. It is about becoming aligned with principles that create it. This is why wealth is not accidental. It is intentional. It is built from the inside out, beginning with belief, shaped by thought, and proven through action. If you have ever wondered why some people succeed while others struggle, the answer is often this alignment. Two people can start in the same place with the same resources, and one will rise while the other remains stuck. The difference is not chance. It is faith, mindset, and action working together. The person who believes, thinks, and moves in harmony creates momentum that compounds into wealth. When you understand this, you no longer feel like wealth is out of reach. You realize it begins within you. It is not about waiting for permission, waiting for luck, or waiting for the right time. It is about aligning today. Strengthen your faith so that you trust the unseen. Strengthen your mindset so that you see opportunity in every problem. Strengthen your action so that you move forward every single day. With this alignment, wealth becomes not only possible, but inevitable.